And we're live. Hopefully, the mic is working. This is Spot Dodge, a live Nintendo podcast. I'm here tonight with John Frischow from The Escapists. How you doing, John?
I am here, my friend.
He's here. And I'm also with
Excited.
Greg Vargas from PC Invasion and Twitch streamer over at Dynamite Giraffe. How you doing, Greg?
Hey man, doing good.
And I forgot to mention at the top, I am Brett Medlock, and this is Spot Dodge, a Nintendo podcast where every Tuesday night we react to the latest Nintendo news and talk about the games we are playing. Now, today, it's going to be sort of just a casual, relaxed show. We're just going to talk about what we've been playing and talk about that Direct, because those are like the main two things. So,
Hold on, let me unbutton my pants first.
all right, so I'll just throw it to, first up, just straight to Greg. What did you think of the Direct?
Man, it was probably the first time that I watched a Direct that I wasn't able to really like watch it. I was like half listening. I was at work and I was watching it on my phone, but I had my headphones on and stuff. And but I was still, just as excited to see, like, I was standing in my cubicle, like talking to myself, like, "Oh my god, they actually did it! They actually brought Mother through!" And then, or like, "Oh, it's Clone Noah! Oh no, look how good it looks!" And then I was like, "Oh, look, Kirby! They turned him into a car!"
Kirby,
and
mouthful mode.
Like,
we got to talk about that.
I was just like so contained, like all the stuff I was seeing, but I was really excited. I said that the week before the Direct happened, or the night before it happened. I was like, expectations are really high, and I feel like they're going to bring a lot of stuff, and I feel like Nintendo really did that. It was, I felt, as soon as I saw the Xenoblade Chronicles 3, like, I felt happy for you. I knew you were going to be excited beyond belief about that. And then I saw your reaction video, and I was like, I knew he was going to be this excited.
Yeah, that was the only one I ended up posting. I also got super hyped for Mario Strikers, which we'll get into in a second. But those were like the two big ones for me. Otherwise, there was some pretty cool stuff in there, but it was just all sort of just tame for me personally. But John, did anything blow your socks off?
Yeah, basically like that half a dozen announcements from Square Enix.
Yeah,
Like,
live.
It felt like half the show was just Square, like being, and then we've got this coming, and then we've got this coming, and then we've got this coming. It's like, yeah, buddy. Like, I think they just put on this event for me specifically. So, like, yeah, Live Alive, I've been waiting like forever for. Like, me personally, I've been waiting like at least a decade for this. So that was crazy.
Yeah,
And
just to bring the viewers up to speed, this is a Japanese game. Well, obviously, this is a Square game that never came to the West before, right?
Right.
And
I think
it's always been asked by fans, but it's never happened until now.
Yeah, I think it came out in 1994 in Japan, and it was created by the guy who pretty much designed Final Fantasy IV, and he would go on to be one of the directors on Chrono Trigger. So this is like a dude who's been around the block, and this is kind of like his most precious baby. Like his other games, he was kind of like sharing creative tasks and whatnot, but this was like full Takashi Takeda. Like Live Alive is his thing, and even if you look on Twitter, he just seems to be like the happiest guy in the world that this thing's coming back. And I'm right
I was
there
gonna
with him.
ask if he was like still around, because if he's from like '94, he could have been older back then. So I didn't know if he was still around, but yeah, that's awesome.
Like it feels like it doesn't do as much these days, or at least the stuff he's working on like isn't as high profile, but like this is so cool.
Yeah, and it looks really cool. Like all the different, like we're used to seeing the typical, like, I don't know, JRPG that's like fantasy, and we're also used to like to the school JRPGs. But there's stuff in this that looks really different for a JRPG, like a cowboy main character. There's like a ninja or something like that, and the environmental diversity looks awesome.
Yeah, each character has their own story in their own timeline. And then at the very end of the game, it all comes together in like this kind of loose way. Like it's not like, my God, I can't believe they tied this to this. No, it's nothing that deep. It almost kind of just sort of like throws them all in a blender and was like, and now you're together. But the individual stories are really fun, and they're all like really distinct scenarios. Like there's this one in the far future where you play as a robot, and it kind of becomes the movie Alien, which you
Oh,
definitely would not expect.
Yeah,
And then there's another story that's basically just like Street Fighter 2, but as an RPG.
hell
that's
yeah.
awesome. I'm assuming you play like a fan translation.
Yeah, like a decade ago. Yeah, good stuff.
Well, that's really cool.
So like a lot of it visually, like, was part of this whole like remaster movement, and giving like additional depth to like a lot of these older games. But how much of the like visuals that you see in the trailer and stuff, like how different is that from the original?
Um, I think they used a few of the original textures, like in places where like they could, but a lot of this I think is brand new. Because
Mm.
like if like yeah, looking at this art, a lot of these sprites are like much larger, just generally physically larger than the original sprites. If you go back and look at like 1994 Live Alive, it uses like these tiny sprites. Like it looks kind of like Final Fantasy IV, which came out in 1991, I want to say. So like it was 3 years removed from that and it still looked like that. So like the graphics
Mm.
weren't always amazing in the original. I still liked it, but yeah, this is definitely an upgrade here.
Yeah, like I gotta say, with Square doing these like HD remasters along with these like new games like Triangle Strategy and Project Octopath Traveler, that's cool. Okay, so we got Project Octopath Traveler or just Octopath
Just
Traveler,
yeah,
and we got Triangle Strategy, and there was another one that's getting a remaster that's not this, but what was it? Um,
Dragon Quest
yeah,
3 HD 2D remake.
yeah, Dragon Quest
That's the
3,
name.
and now Live
HD
Alive.
2D remake.
He wasn't done. There's still part of the title left.
There's 17 more syllables here.
So that's 4 games plus if you want to count. Like, didn't Octopath get like an iPhone game that's different? Um,
uh yeah, I think it's kind of like a gotcha thing, and they recently finally announced it's gonna get an English release, which is surprising. Came
yeah,
out like what, 2 years ago?
yeah. Well, basically, what I was getting at is I am not even close to getting tired of this style because I think it looks stunning in every single one of these games. I'm just fascinated by it, and it's a shame I haven't even played Octopath Traveler, but
Oh,
um,
really?
I mean, I've started it like a little bit, but I haven't really
Mm,
like put much time into it. But it's a stunning game, and
yeah.
I'm definitely gonna get to it sooner or later, and hopefully Triangle Strategy and the Dragon Quest game and Live Alive.
All of
They
them.
all look fantastic. What do you think about this HD 2D stuff?
Who, me or Greg?
Both of you guys.
Greg. I'm tossing it to Greg.
Yeah, I mean, I have an appreciation for the art style, but me being me, I don't know, JRPGs are just not my thing whatsoever. But the this whole time all I could think about was, as much as Square Enix has this big library of modern style games, and it's like, where do you really take those from the point that we're at, a couple years ago, like Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, revisiting that franchise. The same with Just Cause. They like and the loss of having Hitman as one of their published franchises. It's like, where do they really go? And it seems to me like they just went back to their roots as like traditional RPG creators, and I think this is really working for them. And I think they, especially with Octopath Traveler, that they found like this weird new audience while servicing their older audience. And I don't
Mhm.
know, I just find it really interesting that the direction they're taking their business, when they could be, much larger in scale, but they're doing it in a different way.
Yeah, I really feel like Square and Capcom have really hit their stride the past few years by like offering a variety of games that are high quality and making fans happy and bringing back classics. I feel like they've both been nailing it lately. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I totally agree. In fact, I recently wrote an article that Square Enix liked enough
Yeah,
to retweet where
that was awesome.
basically I was saying that, yeah, Square's kind of hit like a new golden age where like they're it for years it used to be that like they would like put out like ports or sometimes sequels of their old properties, like even on PSP, like they made a third Parasite Eve, the third birthday. I've never
I
played those games, but
I played
it
that
was
last
something they
year.
did.
Yeah.
And like, but the thing was, like, it always just sort of felt like this like extra thing, like here it is on the side
Yeah.
anyway, Final Fantasy. And but in the past couple years, like the way they approach their PR for these games has really changed. Like
They
when
they care way more, it seems like.
yeah, exactly. Like when Trials of Mana came out, like obviously we all knew that was not going to do Final Fantasy VII remake numbers, but it came out
Yeah.
around that same time and there were a
Hmm.
bunch of people that were
Mhm.
still stoked for this game, and Square Enix at least put in the effort to make it feel like these games are on like roughly similar footing, you know?
Hmm.
And that game sold over 1 million units, you know? Like
Yeah, that's
no matter how you
surprising.
slice it, 1 million units really really good.
Especially
Yeah.
like when you can tell the game, it wasn't like an ugly game or anything, like, but you could tell it was a budget title compared to something like Final
Mm.
Fantasy VII Remake that looks like it's absolutely insane budget. Um,
Definitely. But on that same token, that game is also a very large visual upgrade on the Secret of Mana remake that a
yeah,
lot less people bought because it looked so budget. I never
yeah,
played it because it looked so budget.
yeah, like the chibi like 3D modeled ones that they did. I think they released on Vita, the
Yeah,
Secret of Mana and
I
Sword
think
of
there was
Mana, or
yeah,
Adventure of Mana. I mean.
that could
Um,
be.
I beat Adventure of Mana on Vita, and I had to use a guide because I don't understand how anyone could know where to go in that game unless you had a guide. Like, how do people
Okay.
used to beat games?
You cheater. Call the Nintendo hotline.
Yeah, you call the hotline, you hope EGM
Game
had the
Pro.
answer. Yep, Game
Yeah.
Pro.
Yeah, because like when I
So
started it, oh well, go ahead, Greg.
no, I was just curious. You said like their PR seems to care, and like that's something I never really hear anybody talk about on podcasts or anything, is like the actual like business side of games reviews, and having a conversation with a PR representative from a company, and how do you like build that relationship, because like even from my experience, like I was like one of the first people in our old camp to really connect with like a lot of these big publishers, EA, Square, Capcom, and I always seem to find a way to get in touch with somebody. But for whatever reason, Square was always like this outlier. Like they either were wanting to have a talk to us and possibly send us a code, no matter how good our numbers were in terms of like traffic, or they would like completely ignore us and then maybe get a code like a couple of weeks after like a game released or like a bigger titles. But it's like I'd just be curious, like just from your experience, how that's kind of shifted from where they were when I was dealing with them for things like Tomb Raider, Just Cause, and then now to how they're approaching these games and handling them.
Mm. I mean, to be honest, I can't really say how much they've changed like their PR strategy, so to speak, as far as like outreach to various publications. I think mm, honestly, I have a hard time even remembering now like how I became like one of those people they reach out to.
Mm,
I forget what it was I even would have reviewed. Like I must have just gotten on somebody's list one way or another. Like to this day,
yeah,
we can all agree that like getting PR to like talk to you is like a, still like very much an arcane art.
Yeah,
yeah,
Like if you're dealing with like primarily like indie budget games from like mid-tier publishers, like they're happy to tell like everyone on the earth with like a business email about their game, like
yeah,
no problem. Like but when you get to like the really major players, then yeah, they're more selective and it makes sense, but like getting them to talk to you sometimes that is more of a mystery than I think it needs to be. But again, I have been having better luck with it lately. So I think
yeah.
it really, to an extent, maybe it really is like a Survivor sort of deal. Like they notice the people that are still there after a few years.
yeah.
That's my
I've
Um,
theory.
always found it interesting too that like even just dealing with PR in general, as soon as the we turn the corner on content creation, streamers, YouTube content creators, as soon as we started getting more and more into that, and to where Twitch was really popping off, and all that, I feel like it just like kind of changed the like gaming PR for the better, honestly. Like I felt like it got a little bit more casual at that point, where people were you could develop a relationship with somebody. Hi, I'm Mr. Gregory Vargas, and I'm with blah 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 blah. And then they started to get more casual in conversation, like, "Hey, what's up, dude? I got a code for you. You want it? Hell yeah!" Like those are the kind of PR people I like.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like it's so strange how some games, like, their approach is to be super secretive and stern about who gets codes, what happens,
And that's
and then
Nintendo.
and then there's other ones that are just like, they'll just send you, like, the first email they send you will have the code in it already, and they'll just be like, just follow this embargo. We'll talk to you guys later. Like, I just got a code for the Assassin's Creed games on Switch, and that's Ubisoft, and they just sent the code over. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, with like no like prior email or anything. So I thought that was kind of cool actually, but still surprising from Ubisoft. But yeah, it's just weird how like some games, like Nintendo's extra bad lately. I think it's because the leaks. Like, ever since it happened with I think it was a 3DS game. It was like a Mario and Luigi game that it really changed everything. But that was like years back, and that's when they started like being more stern. But then more recently, Metroid Dread was obviously online. Like, you could download it like days before the game came out. So that really pissed them off. So now, like, apparently, for the people that do get it early, you have to like send them your Switch like serial number and stuff.
What
which
the
is
hell?
crazy.
That is wild.
And for some reason, like, if you have an OLED Switch, you can't like that one's not allowed. You have to have an original Switch to get a review code. I don't understand why. There's just these weird rules now.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been kind of following like the whole shuffle from closing one of their buildings and having people move offices and people like what's that dude Kit and
Kit and Krista.
Yeah, I saw that they're starting their own podcast.
Yeah.
But even just like I met him in like 2012 or something.
Oh, really?
Something strange like that. And just to think that he was around for so long, and now they're doing this PR shuffle, and I just wonder if that's impacting it, if it's COVID too. But but I think they're more heavily relying on digital communication instead of going to the Game Developers Conference or to E3 or to PAX or to South by Southwest or something where there's PR there. But I don't know. I've just always found that super interesting. Is like from trying to like really break into the industry, now having just like codes willy-nilly thrown at you.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's sort of strange how you sort of just get like, I remember when I first started, I was like, oh my god, I got a game early. Like, that is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
And like, I can't remember the first game it was, but then that was like a big moment for me. And then another big moment was reviewing a Nintendo game early, like from Nintendo. I was like, oh my god, it wasn't even a great game. It was Donkey Kong. It was something Tipping Stars, like Donkey Kong something Tipping Stars. It came out on 3DS and Wii U.
Are you making this up?
That was the first Nintendo game I ever reviewed. Tipping Stars.
Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Mario versus Donkey Kong. Yeah. So that was like a huge breakthrough moment for me. And then sooner or later, you just slowly, it's like you don't even care anymore, and you just take it for granted.
I still get excited. Like, if I haven't reviewed a game in a long time, but having something early and just
I used to like,
I don't know.
I used to only want to review a game if I got it early because I don't really like writing that much. But I do like talking about games way more than I like writing about games. That's why
Fred is among the video game elite. Like,
that's why I'm transitioning
video game on release day.
I'm transitioning to video and podcast
because I'm on paper.
I'm not writing anymore. So yeah, I don't know. It's just funny that like, I don't know. We're just
he doesn't know, guys.
We don't know. You don't know either.
I don't.
Life's a mystery.
Let's talk about Mario Strikers. Were either of you guys fans of this series prior?
No, I never played the original. I didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, me either.
What?
It looks fun though.
Dude, Mario Strikers is literally a blast.
And I own it too.
You'll have to be the cheerleader then. Oh, really?
Yeah.
You own it and you
I'm
haven't
pretty
even
sure I
played it?
have. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have it on GameCube.
Dude,
My brother probably has it on GameCube. Yeah.
I'm not even joking when I say that it's like one of the most fun party experiences. Like if you have like a group of people over your house and you're all playing Mario Strikers, it's like super intense. Unfortunately, like in the original, they made it so easy to get like a super goal basically, where like all you have to do is like the speedometer happens, you just gotta click, and then it's like automatic goal no matter what. I'm hoping with this one it's not so easy to just constantly get goals over and over, because with my group of friends we just had to make a rule like no more like
No
super
super.
hits. Yeah, just we just play normal soccer, like no specials. And it was still a blast. Like I just really love games like this, like ice hockey on NES kind of reminds me of it. So it's just simple, like side scrolling sports game. But
So is this game kind of like basically just like soccer but more aggressive?
yo, yeah, this is the most aggressive you'll ever see all the Mario characters. Like they are pissed at each other. Like they're just constantly like they look like they had no friendship prior to the match. Like that they were just absolute enemies. And this one looks similar to the original, like with like all the characters. Like they all actually still look pissed off, which I love.
But it's funny
That's the
because it
criteria.
looks hella fun. Like it looks like
Dude,
the kind of game I
you're
would
gonna love
like
it.
playing. But you said like you played the previous ones with friends, and I don't really have any friends unless they're online. So
well,
Right.
honestly, this will probably have online. Like I could picture myself getting like actually getting into playing this online because it's a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know if they've announced online. I can't remember, but that would be amazing.
Probably have.
I could picture you picturing yourself playing online.
Yeah.
Sick.
I also love that art style that it goes into, like right before they do like a special hit. And I sort of wish the whole game just looked like that, just like some like that right there.
Mm.
I sort of wish the whole game just like mixed it up and gave us like a totally different art style, because Mario doesn't mix up its art style very much. So that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. Like it'll change art style for like the RPGs, and that's
Yeah,
mostly it.
Yeah.
and like Paper Mario.
Yeah. Well, that's another
Well,
RPG.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
RPG adjacent these days,
Yeah,
but yeah. And yeah, online play will let 20
yeah,
players join up
online,
and compete to become the world's top club.
Holy
dude.
shit, that's a lot of people.
Greg, we are
That's
playing this
surprising.
together. Come
I'd be
on.
down to play it. Get a code.
I'm not gonna get. I'll buy it, but
And it better be
you have to
before
buy it
launch.
too.
Yeah.
If it's not before launch, I don't want it.
Yeah, I'm not playing. What's funny is you said RPG, and I've been playing Super Paper or not Super Paper Mario, Super Mario RPG.
Oh, nice.
I don't remember if I ever finished it. Like a lot, I haven't played it since I was a kid, but I've been replaying it like these past couple of weeks and just like chipping away at it here and there.
Have
I'm
you
like,
been playing the
God,
original or on the SNES Mini?
on the original.
Oh, cool.
I want to say that Water Kirby in the comments says that the Nintendo Direct last week was the best Nintendo Direct ever, 10 out of 10,
Whoa.
and they love Mario Strikers.
Ever.
John, was that you?
Wow. No.
Square Enix fanboy.
It was all Square Enix, so all right, 11 out of 10. I don't know. I don't know if I'd call it the best I've ever seen ever, but it was, from my perspective, it was very good.
That does E3 count? I think that counts, right? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
that's a
direct.
direct. Yeah.
The one that had Donkey Kong, I mean not Donkey Kong, Banjo being revealed for Smash, and then Breath of the Wild 2 at the end.
Yeah.
That was like one of the best directs.
That was pretty
amazing.
insane.
And
yeah.
Animal Crossing reveal. Like, come on.
Oh yeah. Jeez.
Yeah,
that was
my
good
favorite
stuff.
was probably the puppets. That one was
that
like
was a good one.
I think I was driving to E3 and I had to pull over in my car and like because I lived 3 hours north at the time, and I pulled over and like watched the whole thing, and I was like the same thing, like I was at my desk. I was like, oh my god, this is so and like I always get excited for directs, even if like people are like, oh my god, that was the worst one ever. But I can recall in my mind, being super excited for that one. The Switch reveal, I was like, this is awesome. Those are I think they're still managing to perfect the formula that they created, and And this I think was a pretty prime example of that, despite people saying it wasn't the best, like Brett. But I still think it
Me?
was pretty high up there.
Did I say
Brett
that?
hates Nintendo,
Did
confirmed.
you say it? Yep.
I didn't. I
That's
thought it
why
was
they won't give you
good.
any codes, because you're a jerk.
No, they still give us codes, just not early. But I liked the direct. I thought it was solid. I had a lot of fun. At the very beginning, I had Strikers. At the very end, I had Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So that's more
Great.
than I could ask for. Like that's first off, Strikers. I like if you go back and find like random videos of mine, like I will bring up Strikers. So I'm not faking the hype for that one. Like I've been wanting another Strikers game for sure. So I'm just so happy that's coming back. But Xenoblade, I've said this many times. I just fell in love with the series like a few years ago. Like I never played the original until the Switch port, and I started with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I loved that game. And because of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 being announced, I finally am getting to what's it called, the expansion for the remaster.
Oh,
Uh,
the Torna,
No,
the
no.
gold.
I mean the expansion for the first game. If that's like
Tipping Stars.
it's I forgot the
Xenoblade
name of it. It's
Stars.
escaping me, but it's this expansion where you play as what's her face. I just can't remember nothing, so just don't even.
Oh, Future Connected.
Yes, Future Connected.
Okay.
I'm like halfway through that, I think, and
Okay.
it's just such an awesome world. Such
Mm.
the music is so good. Like the
Yeah, the music is
graphics, like
fantastic.
the art style is so solid. I just wish it was running at a higher resolution. Like I swear it looks like it's like sub 720p on my TV. I'm like, come on, Nintendo, like just give me a slightly more powerful Switch because I would love to see this game in 4K
Eh.
or 1080p at least. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
2K.
it's just a little blurry.
In 2K.
That's all they really need,
2K.
honestly. I've said that for a long time. They just really need 1440p, a step above, and something to upres on a 4K TV, and you're fine.
Yeah, like if you're running 1440p on a 4K TV, you really don't notice that much of a difference if it's native or if it's up-resed.
Yeah, and I think if you have 60 to 120 FPS, it's more, I feel, plausible for them to hit that than anything else, and I think that'll make a big difference.
Yeah. It's really
So
interesting. Oh, go ahead, John.
no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna.
I'll
This
go
is
ahead.
totally.
Anyways,
pretty
what I
random.
was
Mine was about frames per second. I noticed that. Millie, quit barking. I noticed that games that run at 60 FPS on the OLED Switch, they look a lot better on that screen, but the 30 FPS games just don't look as good. That was just totally random. I just wanted to say that.
I wonder if it's like screen blur or something.
I think I'm lucky for the longest time. I said I couldn't tell the difference between frame rates, like in general, and to an extent, actually, I think that's still true. But I think I
Yeah.
realized in the past couple years, I think I've just been using cheap TVs my entire life that like wouldn't even display 60 FPS. So
So your
like,
TV is like 24 frames per second max.
like might as well have been. I don't know, because like I got this awesome new TV vault like at least maybe like a year and a half ago now, and like that thing like shows you
finally noticed.
everything.
You finally
Yeah, and
noticed the
so I'm like,
difference.
oh, so this is 60 FPS. And then I'll still switch to like ray tracing mode if you give me that with performance. Like like
Yeah.
like I don't know, it depends on the game, but like I I would rather have the sweet graphics. A lot of people would just want that 60 FPS. I want the sweet ray tracing. I want to be able to see like the specks in the distance. Like
Hmm.
that speck on that building 6 miles away means a lot to me, and it needs to be there.
Yeah, this is where I have to basically just say that Greg was right. And anytime I can choose 60 FPS, I can't go back. Like, I don't want to ever play a 30 FPS game now.
I
But,
told you.
but
I
And
was
see,
born and bred in the
but see,
30 FPS.
and that's the thing that I will say most whenever I talk about graphics and like playing a game at a higher frame rate is like I still love my Nintendo console. Like I'm never not going to buy a Nintendo console on day one, and I'll always own some other console like my Series S. But if I'm going to build something that I'm capable of playing some of these games at that high of a refresh rate or frame rate, then like and see a difference like that, then why not?
no, you still haven't convinced me that anything above 60 is amazing. Just 60 is fine. That's
have you
all I
played
need.
anything
I'm
full
perfectly
settings,
fine with 60.
120 FPS?
My TVs don't support 120,
Well, I'm
Yeah,
unfortunately.
sorry to
that's
hear
just an
that.
urban legend. 120 FPS. It's not real.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you
If
guys
then my
later.
next upgrade, I'm gonna get a TV that can do 120, but I don't know. I would still think 60 is enough for me, at least for now. And like
Yeah.
I'm just now getting used to it with like um open world games and stuff that typically didn't have 60 FPS.
I played
Um
Rocket League at 165.
Jesus.
So you can lose
There's
in
no
high def.
reason. F you, man. Like I will say, no joke, when I started playing on this monitor at that high refresh rate, I would play super late, and when I would go to bed, I could see the flicker in my eyes. Like when I closed my eyes, I could see it like
Jesus.
shuddering.
But yeah, but one thing that like I do like 60 over 30 now, but it's still really easy for me to go back and play old games that are at like 15 frames per second, like what they were originally like running at, and it doesn't really bother me that much. But I know some people like they get physically ill when they have to play like an old PS3 game, like I don't know, like what's a PS3 game?
Killzone.
Killzone. Oh, that's a perfect example. I was just playing Killzone 3 and it aims for 30 FPS. Aims. And it's a FPS and it was not great.
Mm.
Or maybe it aims for 60, but either way, the
But
frames per second were
bottom line,
terrible.
all it was doing was aiming.
Yeah, exactly.
Underachiever.
Well then, so I don't know if you, Brett, how much you scrutinized that Xenoblade 3 trailer, but like story-wise, like it already looks more interesting to me personally than the second one did. Cuz like the whole trailer, it's just people arguing with each other and being like, "Why are you on that side? Why are
Yeah.
you on that side? We might have to fight about this."
Yeah, I liked the immediate emotion in arguing, and I also did want to
Yeah.
confirm Killzone 2 aims for 30 FPS. A first-person shooter aims for 30 FPS. Anyway, yes, the Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It looks first off graphically, it looks even better than two, which hardware we're talking about. And I think it looks great. Um, but yeah, the story stuff seems really good. Like the whole aesthetic and everything, like even the flute's awesome, like just different like that, like for a game that looks and has a very similar to vibe to the other two games, it still
Mm.
seems like it's like distinguishing in itself, like being different in many ways, you know.
Yeah, with all those robots, I'm getting more of a vibe to the first one. And
Now,
I like the first one a lot more. So that makes me happy.
did you ever like beat the second one?
Yeah, I did, and I spent like a ton of time. Like I probably put like 90 hours into it. It's just
Oh
that
my
the
god, and
entire
still didn't
time I
like
was like, well, I hope it'll get good soon.
it. Dude, I'll be so okay, to be 100% honest, I do not like the combat really in either game.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's not really why I play Xenoblade. Like I like
Yeah,
the world, the music, the characters, the story, all that
yeah.
stuff.
Is
The
it all
progression,
turn-based?
no, it's kind of
Well,
like
it's
an MMO
technically
style.
turn-based, but it's yeah. It feels a lot like you're playing an MMO.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, pretty much everything aside from the combat in this series, I love, and obviously that's a big part of it. But I just sort of look past it and just deal with it. But I'm
Mm,
hoping that this one maybe is better. I think the first game's combat was the best that I've played so far, like out of this series. Like I didn't like
mm.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The combat in that game I thought was pretty dang bad, to be honest.
Like,
But the first
didn't
game was
didn't
solid.
every fight in that game start with like cooldowns on your abilities? Like you couldn't just start by using an ability?
I managed to beat that game and never really understand the combat at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. I think I finished that game without understanding like the super special things either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you
So,
had to like line up 3 abilities to do like a special ability. Like you had
mm.
to do an attack with someone that was the same type of um like I forgot what they're called, but I don't know. It was just really confusing for me.
Man,
But
you guys are hooking
Let's
me
just
on
keep it in the
this,
past. Yeah.
making me want to play this game. I don't understand any of it.
Well, I mean, the original one was so novel because the concept was so cool. Like everyone just lives on top of these two giant creatures that like stopped moving like eons ago, and like that's your
Hmm.
video game. People living on
yeah,
these giants, and like that was just such a cool, unique idea at the time. And then the second one, like people are still living on giants, but like now there's more of them, and they're more just kind of like giant animals, sort of. And like, I don't know, like the idea started losing a little bit of its luster to me.
Yeah, isn't the rumor, or maybe they confirm this, that this game will somehow bridge the gap between the two games?
Yeah, it's confirmed in the PR that one way or another, it's combining the first two games.
That's really
And
cool.
yeah,
Bigger
those
giant
two,
animal.
it looks like this game, like, yeah, like I think it might be like a dual protagonist setup. Because like
Yeah.
even as you're watching the trailer, like the person you're running around as on the map keeps changing. Like,
Now, Xenoblade Chronicles X, the
mhm.
ugly stepchild of this series. I was hoping that we were going to get a port before this game, but I completely have given up hope, and I'm probably just going to buy the game on Wii U because I never actually bought it, and I
Yeah,
always wanted to play it.
that
I think
game's
I own that
really
one too.
good.
You can have it.
You have it?
Well, there you go.
But instead of sending it to you, I'm gonna throw it in the trash where it belongs.
No, dude. Do you really have it, Greg? Because I was about to buy it, but I'll buy it from you instead.
Brett doesn't understand you. I'm gonna throw it away.
I was recently just looking up videos on Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I love the art style of that game. I can't
Mhm.
believe how good it looks still for a Wii
Yeah,
U
yeah, yeah.
game. And
Yeah.
they said that like the hardware would be the reason why this game is hard to port, but I don't understand why. Like, look at that. That's
Well, so
stunning.
yeah, it was for some reason that looks more beautiful to me than
Then
like
3.
Xenoblade 2 does. Well, maybe, but yeah, that like yeah. Man,
They're
that's a
going
pretty
for
game.
they have different styles to them, so
Hmm.
it's hard to compare. Honestly, it's not. I think Xenoblade Chronicles X still looks the best of them all, but
Yeah,
um
like I don't something about their lighting choices, like it just looks prettier somehow.
yeah, I mean, one thing I do like about 1 and 2, and I'm not sure if X does this, but the environments have a lot of movement to them. And that little clip I just saw of X, they like nothing was really moving, but like in the other two games, like the trees and the grass are constantly moving. I love
Mm.
that in environments. I hate whenever trees are just like super still.
Well, unfortunately, I do not remember the tree movements in Xenoblade Chronicles X
Son of a
anymore.
bitch. Fired.
But but that game, it like takes place like specifically on an alien world. Like yeah, like that ship there is fleeing the Earth because the Earth gets blown up by aliens. there's like there's
Yes.
like two different alien races at war, and like Earth is like just collateral damage. Like it just happened to be there while the aliens were duking it out, and Earth blows up, which is hilarious.
Jeez, all those people died.
Oops.
Wrong place, wrong
Um,
time.
yeah, but the alien world is really beautiful, and it's so enormous, and like you keep discovering like these new like biomes, basically like completely different sorts of habitats. And when you get the giant robots, and late in the game the giant robots can fly, then like you'll start seeing like kind of like I think there's kind of like some like floating islands and stuff, which like
Huh.
that stuff never makes any sense scientifically, but it always looks like 1,000,000% awesome. So yeah.
But see, like that's the trouble I have is like everything about this game sounds dope as hell,
Yeah, yeah.
except the
Have we
word
lost Brett?
JRPG. He
Have
looks
we lost
frozen.
Brett? Yeah, Brett looks frozen.
Or maybe he's thinking really
Okay.
hard.
Yeah. So our new guest host is Brett Medlock, the thinker. He he
The
he poses some
statue. The
statues.
guy.
Yeah. That's all right. We can be a two-man show from this point.
Oh, he's
Brett is
Eddie's
back.
back.
Did you guys hear me say I lost you?
Did you thaw
No,
out?
no.
Because you were
Man.
frozen.
Yeah, you were just like this for like a solid minute. Like
Just
you
like
were the thinker.
thinking.
Yeah.
Not sure
You-
about this opinion. Yeah, I don't know what happened. You guys just slowly started to die.
Oh. Well, we're back together now. That's what counts.
Yep.
But yeah. So yeah. Conclusion is Xenoblade X is awesome.
Yeah, so
Oh,
my
and
goal now. Oh, go ahead.
the reason why it's not on Switch is because it well, first of all, the CEO or whatever said years ago that it would be really expensive to port. And I'm sure that's true for one reason or another. And the main reason probably is because they'd have to redesign this map system that which was all on the gamepad before. So like the
Couldn't you
gamepad
play with the Pro controller though?
you could, but like it was while the gamepad was still like
Oh, it was
on
all
and
still
active.
there. Okay.
Yeah, like you it wasn't that you were using one or the other, it was that you were using both if you chose to play it like that.
Okay.
So like the map had like these like really intricate display options because you can like implant cores in the planet that extract resources to do different things, and you're like doing that like all over the map. So it's actually like this involved activity that you're pressing a lot of buttons on the gamepad for. So
Okay.
transitioning all of that to a screen would like, I would imagine that would be like a real task.
Yeah. Could it be just like a pop-up menu or something? I don't know.
I mean, like, probably. Like, I forget anymore. Like, I forget if it was like real time. Well, I guess it probably had to be real time to an extent. So maybe that also affects things. Like, if you're trying to like do stuff on the map and then like something jumps you on screen, that sort of deal. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
One thing that I'm for sure going to do now, I'm going to finish Future Connected and I'm going to play Torna because I never played that either.
Yeah,
And
I didn't play that.
by the time I do that, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 will probably be out, so I'll just play that. But then after that, I'm going to finally play X.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah.
It's never going to be ported. I'm just going to buy it on Wii U.
There you
Anyway,
go.
we have about 15 more minutes we can talk. So was there any other topics you guys wanted to talk about? Direct, what you're playing, any of that stuff?
Well, like, it's wild that Chrono Cross remaster finally showed up.
Oh yeah, and another win for the big leak from GeForce Now, right? Wasn't that what
Right.
it was?
Yeah, right. It said a
So
Chrono Cross remaster was happening, and that's what showed up.
yeah, like
So
everything on that list is happening. Let's just say it. Like
one by one, yeah. So looking forward to that Final Fantasy IX remake whenever that shows up.
oh yeah, that was on there,
Yeah.
and it wasn't talking about like a remaster. It was a full remake.
It just said Final Fantasy IX remake, and that's all the info we ever got. Because obviously Square has never like acknowledged that that's a thing.
Yeah,
It's,
and with Final Fantasy VII remake not even being completed yet,
yeah,
I don't know when that's going to be. Probably like
yeah.
10 years from now.
I was going to ask you, was
Oh, yeah.
there anything that didn't show up that you thought would show up? But
Zelda, that's one big
Oh,
topic
yeah,
I want to
right,
talk
right,
about
right.
today.
True.
That and
So,
Donkey Kong.
oh yeah, Donkey Kong
Oh
was
yeah, that
rumored.
was
So with Zelda, do you guys think that it's gonna be like their big holiday game, or do you think it's like pushed to next year, like sometime, or not even pushed? Because wait, it was confirmed for this year, right? Originally, not originally, but
Which
more
one?
recently, Zelda. Didn't they say that it was
Oh.
supposed to come out in 2022?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So do you guys think it's this holiday, or it's not making it?
A lot of people think that's
Ooh.
getting delayed, but I'm putting my foot down. It is coming out this year, no later than like November. Thus I saith.
Watch it be like December 1st.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can
I'm
look it up.
hopeful for this year, but it's just like, something to that scale and that degree. I'm willing to wait. I'm not gonna die if I don't play it. Hopefully, I don't die, but I'm not gonna be super disappointed, because in order to, I guess, like, fulfill my expectations, I'm wanting something that feels polished, that feels just as big as Breath of the Wild, that offers enough newness, things that weren't just shoehorned into the game to make it, to separate itself as a sequel. So, I'm willing to let it simmer, let it marinate, get the work it needs to get done.
Yeah, it's still funny to me that this originally started off as just an expansion for Breath of the Wild 1. And then they're like, no, we're going to make a new game. And then it's going to take 5 years.
Yeah.
Or like,
Make it 10 years.
I mean, at this rate, it'll be closer to 6 years if it comes out next year. Like, it came, like, Breath of the Wild's 5 years or it's almost 5 years old.
It came out in March 2017.
Yeah, so almost 5 years old now.
Yeah.
That is insane. So this game will be probably 6 years after the first one, after the first Breath of the Wild.
At least 5.5, yeah. Pretty wild.
So
Water Kirby is begging us to talk about Fire Emblem, Advance Wars, and/or Klonoa.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Fire Emblem. I never played the other Fire Emblem Warriors. I'm just not a big Warriors guy. But I did recently get that Persona Strikers game because of PlayStation Plus. That's the only one that has spoken to me, because I heard it's more of like it's still warrior style, but it's more like a traditional action game, like than your typical Muso. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that and
Mhm.
it's a straight up sequel to Persona 5.
Yeah,
Like
that
it is
also really
the
interests me,
narrative straight up sequel to Persona 5, which
which
is pretty
I like
wild.
that game a ton. So I'm
Yeah,
excited to play it
and
sooner or later.
right, and I I typically don't play Musos, but I did play Persona 5 Strikers and I played Age of Calamity,
Hmm.
and
Oh yeah,
it looks like
I did beat that one, Age of Calamity.
okay, and it looks like what they did with Age of Calamity, it looks like they're doing well. Really, what they did with Persona, it looks like they're doing here with this new Fire Emblem because I think it's like continuing their story. I think
Now that's
like
really interesting.
I'm not a Fire Emblem dude, so I don't. eh,
Well,
but
did you play Three Houses?
no.
Okay. I won't spoil anything just in case you ever do, but I feel like there's some stuff in this trailer that wouldn't make sense if it happened
Okay.
after the game. I could be wrong,
Mm.
but
Well,
from what I remember of the story, it's I don't know if it fits
it could
right.
always be like kind of like an alternate universe sort of deal, like Age of Calamity ended up being.
Yeah, that disappointed me
Yeah.
so much. The story of that game. Like
Oh well.
the one cool part about it was that you knew it was gonna end with everyone dying. That was like why that was why I wanted to play it so I could see how they were gonna do that, how everyone would die. But then they're
Yeah.
like, no, we're from the future or we're from a multiverse. We're gonna save you, and then they all live. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Classic happy Nintendo, I guess.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
give us this
Kill
crazy.
somebody.
I wanted to cry at the end of that game, but I ended up just being mad. Um, but yeah, I might give this one a shot just because I really loved Three Houses, and I wouldn't mind seeing more of these characters and stuff.
Yeah. It it looks cool. Like I can tell you right now, I ain't never touching this game, but it looks good. Like I don't begrudge anyone who thinks it looks fun because it does look fun. But
Yeah, it looks fun.
um,
But aside from that, Klonoa, I don't have much
yeah,
I
knowledge on that
I
series.
I don't think I've ever I don't like it's possible maybe I played it on like one of the old school PS1 demo discs like a million years ago, but honestly
yeah.
I don't even think I played one of them.
I'm
Like
just happy. Like I love that style of platformer. That
mhm,
like mini adventure platformer with like
yeah.
some puzzles and like cute mechanics. Like that's the time that I like to spend. To just genuinely relax is play something like that. That I'm, that's why I liked uh ukulele was it and
Mm,
the Impossible
Impossible
Lair.
Lair. Yeah.
mhm.
I like loved that game and not for it being difficult, but for like, unlocking stuff in the overworld. And I was, really challenging at times platforming, but it never felt like overbearing. It never felt overwhelming. And I genuinely liked the characters, more in the 2D experience than the 3D one that came out first. But I don't know that's the sweet spot for me is a title like that, kind of like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toomba.
So
Yeah, I
did you?
played. Yeah, I think of Toomba when I think of
Yeah.
Klonoa because I did play a demo of Toomba a million years ago and I thought it was really fun, so I associated those two. But congrats to everyone who actually wanted this. I know those people are like really vocal on Twitter, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
good
it's so
good for
weird.
you
Like I
guys. I'm happy for you.
there's like my biggest takeaways from the direct were Klonoa, Switch Sports,
Yeah,
and
Oh
Kirby.
yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
those
Kirby
are,
still
Super.
looks great. That game
oh my
looks
Yeah,
awesome.
god.
Kirby
yeah.
is the style of game I think you were talking about. Like
Yeah.
it's just like this linear, fun adventure platformer.
Mhm.
Not quite the scale of something like Mario Galaxy or
Yeah,
like
on a smaller scale.
Odyssey. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that is fun to me. That
Hmm.
I still feel like there's a challenge there, but they do like, he's a soda machine. Like that's so
Yeah,
fun.
that's
Like
adorable.
just so corny. Yeah. Like how could you not like something like that? And I don't care how old I get, like I'm still gonna like games like that.
Yeah. Yeah, Nintendo understands its audience.
Mouthful mode. What on earth were they thinking with that one? But
Glorious meme potential.
Look at it.
yeah, it
Oh,
looks so much fun. I'm excited, and it's co-op. Like that's gonna be great.
Yeah,
Um,
right. And
But yeah,
then,
was there any other topics you guys wanted to talk about real fast?
well, since Greg mentioned it, Switch Sports, like it just
Oh yeah,
it's like Nintendo was just like, hey, you know what made a lot of money?
let's bring it
Wii
back and
Sports. Yeah.
change it slightly.
Yeah. Like, cause like even like the logos and stuff, like it all has that same vibe. Like they use the same colors and fonts, I think, as Wii Sports. Like
Hmm.
they're trying to make it
It's like a
as
series
obvious as
now.
possible. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
the sports series is just
Right.
But it's like the smartest thing they ever could have done. I mentioned it to you guys in the chat afterwards, and it's like, they capitalized on gamers that weren't gamers during that Wii generation. I mean, my parents went out and bought a Wii, and
yeah.
granted, my sister
My
is
mom did
14
too.
years younger. Yeah, 14 years younger than me, and like whenever I'd go home, we'd all play, and my mom would smoke my ass in bowling every single time. But it
She'd be
was
like
like
curving the ball, like doing these crazy moves.
she'd go, she'd go, woo, woo, like she knew she was gonna get a strike, and she did.
Just putting on these golden gloves before each one.
That's
No,
great.
but
Nice.
that what a smart move to, if we really are in between generations and they're really, queuing up whatever it is coming next to extend the Switch brand, as well as kind of not have that gap that the Wii U and the Switch did, then what better way to have a kick-ass console and Switch Sports, and you could play it on either one of them regardless of what you own. Well, I guess besides the Switch Lite. But
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's weird. I forgot all about that.
Oh, really?
it was subscription based.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I think they like
For
updated
those
it
listening, we have a man
several
in our
times.
ear at the moment.
Oh yeah, I don't think anyone can hear Eric, so they just think we're
Yeah.
talking to Jesus God. Um. Oh, okay, so they
Oh,
can
okay.
hear you.
All right.
You hear his sexy sultry voice.
But yeah,
I did-
guys, unfortunately, I have to cut the show a little short because I gotta make it to a movie. But if people wanted to know where to find John, where can they find you?
On the unemployment line, hit me
No.
up for a job.
You could find him at Escapist. And what is your Twitter? Oh, it's on the screen actually.
Yep, at
Oh.
John Frisha, and I'm making a video game ever so slowly called Boss Saga. You can go to boss-saga.com. You can check that out. We got a new blog post up today
And you didn't
about our
even send
music.
it to us. And now, Greg, if people want to find you or see you stream some video games, where can they go?
I'm probably going to play some Apex after this and stream it. But you can find me all my socials at dynamite_giraffe. My Twitter is the only one that's all jacked up. But TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube at dynamite_giraffe. And somebody said in the chat that that Switch Sports doesn't have boxing, and I'm like really disappointed now.
That's weird. I guess because of arms. They just want
Maybe.
If
people
that's
to
the case, that's stupid.
Legit, maybe, yeah.
Boycott.
Well, the weird thing is, I think what is it? One of them is coming as an update. It's either tennis or golf. It might be golf.
Yeah, golf is
It's
coming as an
coming as an
update.
Yeah.
update, which is
They
weird.
they rushed this game out the door. They're
Yeah.
like, let's just send it out unfinished and then we'll update it later.
Yeah.
Like most games nowadays, let's be honest.
Yeah. Hey,
Right.
we'll just wait after it prints money.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, this has been Spot Dodge episode 6. Thanks a lot for hanging out. If you made it this far into the show, it means a lot. This show's gonna be having some changes soon. I'll probably make an announcement on the channel, so be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to find this show possibly somewhere else. I know that sounds weird, but it'll all make sense in the future. And thanks
Yeah.
for hanging out. Goodbye.
See you guys.
So yeah.